Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and whenever you are. Welcome to another edition of the Community Live Stream. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am the ServiceNow guy with the cool lavender bow tie this morning. More surprises coming to you in the next few days. Keep an eye on the camera. Thank you for joining me this morning. This is the episode, or the show, I should say, where I, Chuck Tomasi, take a look at the community, the stuff behind me, and not only give you the answers to some of these questions, or at least the ones that I can handle, but also provide you with the insights, the analysis, the detective work, whatever's going on behind the scenes, and pulling things out of my head, or doing a little research, give you that the answers, but also the skills to take back to your job to find the answers yourselves, rather than it's the old adage of give a man a fish or teach a man to fish. I'm here to teach you to fish. That's what it is today. All right, let's get on with the preliminaries while a few other people join me. Let's see. The YouTube seems to be working. Twitch seems to be working. Notification came in. Yay. So I'd just like to remind you that we do this every weekday, or at least every weekday that I can, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. UTC on YouTube and Twitch. Give you that URL in just a little bit so that if you are subscribed, you get that notification like I just did. You can join me and see what's happening. So again, thank you for joining me on YouTube. Again, subscribe. Get notifications for not only this video, but also the other stuff that the community does throughout the week, and on and on and on. Even if I'm not here, stuff gets published to that. I did publish a ton of information to the community channel on our CreatorCon breakout sessions. I encourage you to go look at the CreatorCon 2018 playlist. Also posted a video of our hackathon winners from CreatorCon in the hackathon, I think it's hackathon 2018 playlist as well. Good stuff there. If you find something in the next hour or so that is helpful, be sure to click that like button, duly appreciated, so that others can find this video helpful as well. If they find something that has 0 likes on it, they'll go, well, that wasn't a very helpful session to anybody. But if they find something that has 200 likes on it, it will be more indicative of, wow, there was something useful in here. Everybody thought it was very helpful. Maybe it was something about getting properties. Maybe it was something about setting up tables. We don't know. I'm going to pull things out of here. My expertise is in the platform in general, specifically custom applications and integrations, and I will learn and share as I go. That's kind of my thing. That's what I do. We also offer this simulcast on Twitch. There are a number of you who like to watch there. Good for you. I have no preference one way or the other. They are both going out at the same time. If you are on YouTube or Twitch, give me a shout out. Sneehall has already done that. Good day to you. Thank you very much. Love to hear where people are from. I know that based on the time of day, I can usually reach people in India as they're finishing their day, people in Europe halfway through their day or most of the way through their day, and some in the U.S. who are just getting started. If I'm really, really lucky, I get someone from Australia who's just about to go to bed. But that's dedication for you. I appreciate it very much. I don't know any other time of day that would work quite the way this does. So happy to do it. This is my fun part. Great way to get started. This is how I get my breakfast energy, because it is 6 a.m. In sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Well, it's not sunny right now. Light rain coming down. You didn't come here to hear my weather report. You came here for community stuff. So head over to Twitch and get that done. If you've got more than just a hello, good morning from Mumbai. Love to hear it. If you've got something more than just a hello, you've got a question or an issue about ServiceNow, please post that in the community. It will be much more valuable there. I will, if it already is there and you want to get my attention, paste the SysID into the chat, and I will try and get to that as soon as possible. But if we start putting questions into these videos, and they're only in these videos, that makes it very difficult for others to find. The community is a system of record. Do a quick double check on the audio. Looks good. Sorry, I got to do that every once in a while. It cut out a little bit at the end of Fridays. I thought I had this audio thing nailed down, so I wanted to just double check. The community is a system of record, and it makes it easier for people with similar questions to follow up on that and say, hey, I have a question on how to get properties over to the client side. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I did find that earlier late last week or over the weekend. I don't recall what it was. It was in my notes, so I'm going to try and get to that. Sorry, I forgot my water this morning. I had it, but I don't know where it went. The community. Yes, I did add a couple slides in here just for the benefit of people who may be new to the community. We've got some suggestions, some guidelines, some recommendations, some tips. If you are a requester, please be sure to search first. If you post a question, it could have been asked 100 times before and likely answered in one or more of those. So please search first and then post your question, just like anything else on the internet. Make sure that you're asking a reasonable, unique question that will help other people. If you do have a question, post one question per post. If you put 3 or 4, or like we saw last week, 10 questions in one post, that is you're asking a lot from somebody who wants to give an answer, to sit down and write a response to 10 questions. It might be a link, it might be an in-depth description, it might be a comparison. One per post, please. Seems obvious when you think about it, but some people aren't following that. It makes it harder to answer. It also makes it hard to mark as answered. If somebody's answered 9 out of 10 of them, you still aren't marking it answered because you've got this one linger thing, and it rabbit trails off into another discussion. And it's like, when is this thing ever done? You may have 9 very, very good questions in there that have very, very good answers, but it's never marked as answers, so it might get overlooked by others who come along later in the community. So please, one question per post, and post only once. If you post in multiple areas, ITOM and ITSM and all these other places, it may seem like a good idea to you. Hey, I'm broadcasting my question out there. Somebody somewhere has to answer. Not necessarily. It would be like walking into a movie theater and saying, hey, where's the best place to go fishing around here? No one's going to answer you. You're in the wrong place asking the wrong question. So you go into a sporting goods store and ask, you're going to get a lot better answers. So look for the proper forum to post that. If you do post, real quick question. I'm just going over these. I'll make them much quicker in the future days. This is because this is the first time this slide has ever been up here, and I want to make sure that everybody's got a good eye on it. Provide some context. Don't just say, hey, how do I get properties to a client script? Why are you trying to get properties to? What have you tried? What errors are you seeing? Are there any screenshots? Can you provide me the scripts you're trying to use right now? That will help the community, the experts in the community, go a lot further to answering those questions rather than back and forth. If you provide some context, the business use case, the requirement that's actually being asked, it sounds like you've already focused in on a technical answer, which may not be the right technical answer. It might actually get you in trouble later for maintenance or upgrades or stability or performance. There are often multiple options for doing something, and you're not explaining what that thing is that you're trying to do. So include those details, very valuable. And when you do get your answer correct, mark it correct. You get a correct answer, you go, hey, that was good. Because then when other people are searching, they'll say, that's a correct answer. I want to look at what that correct answer was, rather than this is a loose end that never got tied up. Okay, for the experts out there, thank you very much for participating. We encourage you to participate. And if you find something that's useful, think about turning that into a blog post or a video or some other content that we can leverage to expound upon that. What did you learn? What did you find? What are the recommendations? What were the challenges that came up with this? Hey, I've done this before also. Post scripts, because people are looking to download those. Those are extremely popular and valuable in there. If you are responding to something and you want to narrow down your focus, of course, search and filter to what your area of expertise is. The new community also has a subscribe feature so that you can pinpoint those forums. If your specialty is in performance analytics, you can subscribe to the Performance Analytics and Reporting forum and get notifications when people post there. So you don't even have to visit the community. You just get it dropped in your inbox, in your email client, and away you go. And don't be afraid to defer when necessary. Call in or mention someone else. Send them an email. We don't have ad mentions yet. It is coming. It is on the roadmap so that if somebody says at C. Tomasi, I will get a mention in my inbox. Not there yet. I know it's a commonly requested feature. It's coming soon. But you could also defer them to support. There are a number of times when I look at this and say, I've looked at this. I agree. It's likely a bug. Go ask support. If they've got a PRB, which is a problem report, if they've got a PRB, reference it here so we can all keep an eye on it. We can all call up later and say, hey, what's the status of that PRB? Is it done yet? Is it fixed? Is it in Kingston patch 7? Is it in Istanbul? Is it in London? Where are we going with that? So that's the keys to making the community successful from both the requester and expert side. Let me also mention that we will be doing the developer site. I've got a free personal developer instance that is up and running. It's probably timed out since the time I logged into it this morning, but you can get your free personal developer instance over at developer.servicenow.com along with the scripting APIs, free learning plans, and meetups galore. We've got lots of meetups, including, forgot to turn that title off. I was just putting in some new slides and keystrokes this morning and already messing them up. But lots of meetups around the globe coming up. I've got, 9 of them up there in late July, August, and early September. I encourage you to go over to the URL at the bottom on meetup.com/pro/ServiceNow dev program and check out what meetups are in your area. If there isn't one in your area, reach out to us. We'd love to get one started. The last I counted, there were 46 or 47 chapters online. Looking to get to the one that's not listed up here, which would be Calgary in late July. I think it's July 31st. So that is still being penciled in. We've got to get that on the it was created as a meetup group, but it wasn't under the ServiceNow Dev Program umbrella. And that way people can go to this one link and see all of them around the globe. That one was sort of out on its own. The person who created it didn't quite know how the whole process worked. Don't just go and create your own meetup.com thing. Contact us. We can help get this going so it benefits everybody. If you're traveling to one of these areas, for example, you can look, hey, where's a meetup? Are they having one? What's the date? Maybe I want to change my travel plans to align with that, so that I'm in town during the Oslo meetup, for example. Something like that. Good morning, James. James from the UK checking in. Thank you very much. Along with meetups are other events that we've got over at the servicenow.com site. I think that looks pretty much the same as it did last week, so I'm not going to go over that. You can go over to the link. Follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter, and you will get those messages as they come up. I post to the social media at least once a day when I see events and other newsworthy stories, whether it's digital transformation, machine learning, or anything related to ServiceNow that our social media team can feed me. I amplify that as much as possible. Appreciate it very much. Okay, that takes care of that. I think, no, that was last week. We did that. Waiting for the new one. Waiting for the new registration link for August to get you to the next Tech Now. Let's take off and go into the community, see what's new. I'm going to do a quick refresh on this page. Hello, Takeshi from Bangalore. Wonderful, wonderful. We've got a good group starting off our week, or in your case, ending your week. I do a refresh on that. And I am going to start with the unreplied. I don't think I have any follow-up stuff in here to, at least I didn't note any follow-up items from last week that I need to follow up on. I do have a couple of topics at the end that I will share with you if the content here starts to get a little thin. Inbound action regex for multiple line variable. Let's see. Sounds like they're trying to do something that spans multiple lines. Hello there, ServiceNow gurus. I have a variable that spans multiple lines, and I'm trying to find an easy way to create a variable from the data. Basically, I want to see if there's a way to capture everything from up caret quote to quote $sign using regex. So if you are familiar with regex, up caret is the beginning of a line and dollar is the end of a line. And here is some sample code that I found, but it isn't doing what I want. A split replace, bada boom, bada bum, bada bum, bada bum. They're looking for up caret quote or up caret quote. That seems to be redundant. I'm not sure why they have the or in there. That says the same thing. Or, you know what? I found, let's see if I can find it. Rubular.com. rubular.com is a good way to test this. And if I said your string is, and go from, this is a multi, make that a little bigger for you so you can see that, multi-line input string. Have fun with it today. Okay, that's an example. You can build these things out, and there is a little cheat sheet down here at the bottom. It says if I look for up caret quote and then get, I believe I can also do groups. It will get the rest of the group. However, I thought M was the modifier for a multi-line. It is. Okay, then what you need is, oops, not that, quote dollar. Did I get it in one shot? No. I want to first pull that out. It's everything between there. Oh, yeah. The answer to this that matches that would be right there. Now, if I put a G in, it's not going to work because G says search all lines. Wow, I can't believe I got that on the first try. So what I would do is, let's respond to that. I just tested this at rubular.com. I'll put in a link as soon as I'm done with my paste. And was able to extract everything between the double quotes like this. Your first, I'm trying to think and type at the same time. It's not working. First, what's that called? It's a something group. I can't think of it. Quote group, block group. First group is going to contain the text. But, big but, you need, here, you know what? I don't need to do that. I can do this. //m. You know, it'd be even more fun is to put that in the little code editor. I don't know what format I'm going to pick. It's not CSS, it's not Ruby, it's not a regex, it's nothing. We can take our pick. Let's just say JavaScript. That'll be fun. And we can pull that back to use the M modifier, not G. You can find out more about regex in Tech Now episode list. I should have left this up. I was looking at it this morning. And pull that up. I did 3 episodes? I think it was 2. Regex. Regular expressions. Sorry. 2-part. Episodes 31 and 32. I can remember that. In episodes 31 and 32 of Tech Now. Put in the link. Put in the link to this. I can probably type it faster than, was it HTTPS? All right, I can't type it faster than no, just HTTP. Okay. Rubular.com. Open that in a new window so that they don't lose where they're going. And ding, that's one. They're probably going to want the JavaScript that goes with it. Oops. All right, my personal developer instance did in fact time out. I didn't get anything in there. Good morning to everybody who joined. We've got about more viewers than we had just a few minutes ago. So welcome to the community live stream where I'm going through and answering questions, but also giving the insights and some hints to things like Rubular.com. That one I learned from Dave Slusher. I had several other regular expression tool builders, but I seem to have gravitated towards Rubular. It's very nice, very easy to use. Personas in IT service management. Let's see what we've got here. I'm just picking them. I have no idea what these are ahead of time. This is totally unscripted for about an hour of fun. Trying to find more information on defining and documenting personas. More and more there is the term persona being thrown around, and I would like to better understand how they are determined, documented, and managed as we move forward with the overall management of the platform and associated processes. Is there any reference material on what personas are, what they are generally used for, and how people are leveraging them across the platform? Wow, I can give you the Chuck Tomasi definition of them. I can give you the, I'm going to use that same term, if I can hit the right keys of them. I don't know, aside from something like dictionary.com, I don't know of anything authoritative that defines them in this context. A persona is a role. If you were to draw the swim lane flow diagram in Visio, anybody ever done any of those? It would be analogous. Did I spell that right? No, it's analogy. To the lanes. Each persona would have their own lane. There's no analogy. Each persona would have their own lane based on the roles and responsibilities they do for that process. Example. Let's do an example. Sure, why not? You could have a requester. These are often used as personas in ServiceNow flow diagrams. Someone who makes the request and who makes their request to get a product or service fulfilled. Fulfiller. A person or group responsible for delivering that product or service. Approver. Person who makes the decision, person or group I should say, makes the decision if the product or service will be delivered by the fulfiller. What else am I missing? Okay, that's a good simple example. That's a good simple example of 3 personas in a typical service delivery process. Yours may have more or less and different definitions. It's up to you based on your process. Ding. Works for me. Need to add some text to the cart preview screen. 2-step. Cart preview screen. I'm going to refresh that because something tells me that's already been answered. The cart preview screen. Let's see what they're trying to add, if it's not already up here. Refresh, refresh, refresh. This is where I wish I had some thing to drink. Good morning, Ed. Morning, Jason. Good to see you guys. Let's go to unreplied. Just taking some new questions for a few minutes, see what we get. Insert values in a table from multiple catalog items. Sounds like a good challenge. Let's see what they're up to. Hi guys, I just made a table and want to be able to insert values from a few 7 catalog items into specific catalog specific columns of the table. For example, below are the screenshots of the table columns and what one of the catalog items look like. So we're going to have updated, date, time, 40, sys updated on. These are the columns. Customer, extension, GSM identifier. What table did they add these to? I'm a little nervous now. And then the catalog item has, I love the pictures. Pictures are helpful. As I mentioned at the top of the show, details, context, very helpful. Select a user, purchase type, carrier, street address, city, state, zip. So customer, U_customer in the table should get the value of select the user in the form. Job type should get purchase type, and so on. How do I accomplish this? I think I need to create a scheduled job because I will later need to create reports based off of it and do not know what to do it further. My recommendation is to make a map table that says this variable, this catalog item variable goes with this table's field. Then you run a scheduled job, or not a scheduled job, run a business rule that happens at a certain point of your process, perhaps after insert, that does a lookup for those variables and copies them into the fields. Okay, your map table might include fields like catalog item, reference to cat item. That is a table name that contains the definitions of all the catalog items. Variable name, string. Target table, perhaps, maybe. Target table field name. Where to save the value. I'm going to variable name. I'm not going to do that. So your business rule would have lines something like that. I'm not going to write the script for them at this point, but business rule would then find the catalog, the items and variables that match in the map table and save them to the target table's fields. I'm also going to give them a reference to the product documentation on the business rule page. If you're not familiar with business rules, it's very important that you understand when they fire. We've covered this topic numerous times on the community live stream. Business rules, did I hit enter? Helps when you hit enter. Copy the link. Paste the link in here. Now to run a business rule. I'm going to put business rule as a link. Very helpful to do that. To a new window. Map that. Reply to that. Woohoo! I did a link with just the keyboard. No mouse involved. Ding! You gotta have some fun. My personal developer instance is awake and ready for something, but I'm not doing anything. Set work week dates only. This sounds like you might want to use a schedule. Let's see what's going on. Shame on me for having ideas of what the solution is before I even read the problem. Don't do that as a developer. Don't make assumptions. Don't taint your solution. Hello, community. I currently have this script in a business rule that sets the activity task due date based on the engagement priority. Is there a way I can script this so only set during work hours and also not on holidays? Okay. Execute rule. Now is a new glide date. If the priority is 1, add 1 day, and then current assessment as 1 day. You need to look at schedules. This is, yeah, if a priority is 4, they're adding 15 days. You know, there's got to be a lookup way to do this. This is very hard-coded to me, and I don't like it for that reason. It's mapping the priorities to a specific number of days. And yeah. And if I remember right, I did this last week. I was looking for schedules, and it just didn't come up here. Oh, maybe it does. Yep, it does. I was looking for something else. 2 recommendations in this case. 1, don't hard code this. Don't hard code the values. 1, 3, 7, and 15. 3, 7, and 15. Someone is going to change those. Going to ask you to change them. And you'll have to go back to dev and update code. Instead, look at using a property and retrieve those properties via gs.getProperty. When someone asks for a change, you just update the property. Update the respective property. 2, sorry, my mind just went down something else. Now I got to remember what number 2 was. Number 2, take a look at schedules. They can help you identify what times are on and off. If you define a business day of 8 to 5, then those 9 hours make, 9 house hours make up a day. But be careful, because if your script says had 24 hours, or 1 day, and you only have 9 hours in a day, this is the thing about schedules, then you'll get about 2.8 business days added on, because 24 hours will be all of day 1 and all of day 2 and part of day 3. Because you can't get 24 hours in 1 day. Oh, I forgot my links. Let's put the links in there. Edit. Docs. Schedules. Should still be in the copy-paste buffer. It is. And I hate cancel. Too many tabs. Paste. Enter. Down. Tab. Done. Good. Go. There. Now I get a bell. Put the link in. Back to how to display from field. What are we trying to display in or to or what? Open it up in a new tab, and then I didn't go to the new tab. How's that strike you? I have a situation where the from field under the activity section for email is coming in blank. It is only happening when the user is submitting the request through email, but the engineer replied to the same email. The from field activity section is getting captured. We have 2 replies. What version of ServiceNow are you on? Inbound email action should set info to comments as out-of-box create incident. Current comments received from email.orig email. Let's see what. Yeah, this is another one of what are we trying to do? What scripts do you have? What error messages are you getting? Screenshots are helpful. They got the screenshot. Let's take a look. See if I can make that bigger for you. Open it up. Open it up. There it is. That didn't zoom very well. Why is it zooming out? They kind of filtered everything. Okay. They scratched out a bunch. That's why it looked so funny. So we've got email received. Apologies. There's a low res image and I blew it up. And from is blank. I would take a look at the other headers and see what is in that message. Where this, it only happens when the user is submitting the request through email. They're submitting the request through email. That would be interesting how they're actually submitting the request through email. They didn't really give a whole lot of detail on this one, so I'm going to back off for now. Customize the sign and confirm form from customer service management. I'm not big into customer service management. Need to add some text to the cart preview. We took a look at that, or I didn't take a look at that, but I'm not going to. Performance analytics. Is there another way to implement interactive filter conditions without creating filter conditions under interactive filter and filtering reports on the dashboard? Short answer, no. That's what interactive filter conditions are. They're a dashboard control. Be curious to know where they're trying to implement these. Not that I'll have an answer for them, but open that up. I just want to read this one. Performance analytics is interesting. Dashboards and reporting are interesting. I have one requirement related to dashboard reports. For filtering report results, we are using interactive filter conditions. When I want to create new interactive filter condition, it is asking, you are using standard version of interactive filters, which does not support the creation of new filters. You can activate this feature by upgrading to Performance Analytics Premium. Ah, okay. Is there a way to filter reports on dashboard without interactive filters? Short answer, no. You get some. No, that's kind of one of the reasons to go from free PA to premium PA. So you can customize more stuff. More indicators, more sources, more dashboards, filters, etc. than are provided out of box. Is there a way to filter reports on dashboard without interactive filters? I want to answer the question they asked, not something else. Interactive filters are only available on dashboards at this point. Put that in there. Away we go. Didn't expect to put down a response on that. We'll see what happens when we get back there. Duration to be created on change task table. Convert megabytes to gigabytes for CMDB record on a catalog item. Sounds intriguing. Let's see what this one's all about. I've come across an interesting one today, which I'm looking for a bit of advice on. I'm currently building a form within the service catalog where users can request the addition or removal of CPU, RAM, and disk for existing VMs from a service portal. At the top of the form, I have a reference field which references the server table within the CMDB to display the server name. Then I have a client script to include a combo which then pulls and displays server's current CPU count and RAM. The issue I've got is people order RAM in gigabytes, but Discovery updates the CI records with RAM in megabytes. So I need somehow to have the CI's RAM converted from megabytes to gigabytes, just divided by 1024. I also need to make this conversion in place that makes architectural sense. It seems that Discovery updates the CI record directly rather than via transform map. So I can't catch it in there and make the conversion on the catalog items. It's not really scalable solution. Is it best to create a new field in the CI which references the megabytes and converts it, or how does this convert? Oh, okay. So if you want the CI to be displayed in gigabytes, then I would do a before insert update business rule that simply divides the value by 1024. If you're okay with the CI displaying, storing megabytes, and your primary concern is with the service portal field, then a client script can do it for you right before you display the value in that field. I don't know what they want to do, but your preference. Either way, you're going to have to divide it. And if you want to go, obviously, from gigabytes back to megabytes, multiply by 1024. How to write loops in patterns. That's a service mapping question. And you know what? I have not done loops. I did, but it was prior to service mapping being part of the platform. So I'm trying to think if I even have a remote sense of where this question would go. Don't know. Auto redirecting to multiple IDPs, carry the value from two-step checkout, how to build a custom static WSDL. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. WSDLs are part of a SOAP integration. They're the definition of what fields and functions you get to do. So I'm trying to create a custom static WSDL to build multi-layer structure XML. I want like below. In my static WSDL, the picture is broke, but we'll see how far we can get. I have code like this. Execute. Oh, excuse me. But I'm getting only the first two tags in SOAP UI. Can anyone help me build a structured? There are scripted. It's like a scripted REST API, but it's not a scripted REST API. Obviously, scripted SOAP service, I'm thinking, is what we can use for this. And do they store the WSDL in here, or can you put it? There's a WSDL, HA get params WSDL, and yeah, scripted web service or scripted SOAP service is what I'm aiming for. Scripted web service. Create a scripted web service. You should be able to do this with a scripted web service. First time I heard about scripted web services was at Knowledge. I think I've heard about them, but the first time I saw one in action was at Knowledge 12. Knowledge 12 is also where I met Andrew Kincaid, who was doing a presentation on, what was he doing a presentation on? I don't remember. And his co-presenter didn't show up. So I had a few minutes on my hand and I was wandering around. I said, hey, I'll just pop into this session, see what's happening. And I was in the back and I asked a couple of questions. And Andrew was, I wouldn't say struggling, but he wasn't as on his game without his co-presenter. Put that in, but let's also make it a link. So before I knew it, within about 15 minutes, I was at the front of the room presenting with him. And it was only fortuitous that I knew the topic and was able to help out. And at the end of that presentation, we were friends. And that was one of the things that led us to start the Tech Now series, which kind of spawned off into this series, I guess. So Tech Now was born from scripted web services, I think. Is that where my story was going? I don't know. It was just something to talk about while I tried to type. I am at a quarter to the hour, And I want to just do a quick refresh to see if there's anything. Good morning, Raghavendar. Good morning, Raul. Good to see you both. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning start to your week. Or it's Monday morning for me. You guys are probably done with your Monday. Let me go into the inbox, see if there's any conversations we can follow up on to keep them moving along before I shut down the cameras. And I've got system clone option minus clone from field. This is an older thing from 8 months ago. Someone just marked it helpful. Good. It's always nice to do. If you find something helpful, you can always mark it helpful. You don't have to make a comment. If it's not yours, you can't mark it correct. So away we go. Insert values in table from multiple catalog items. Oh, this is where I came up with that mapping field idea a little while ago. Hey, Chuck, thank you for your reply. I haven't worked in business rules at all, so this might be interesting. However, I added one more of my table's requirements. Sorry, I missed that in the question earlier. Also, what I need is to have very specific values of the variables inserted into the table. So in the form, if the purchase type is new purchase, it should add new line equipment in the table under job type in the table. Is that possible with business rule? Yes, you can. Yes, that is possible with the business rule because you have total scripting capabilities to check for conditions, and if those conditions are met, you get to put whatever values you like. Did I put a link to business rules before? I did. Okay. Do I have a video for business rules? That's the next question. No, that would be a big bad miss. We haven't done a tech now on business rules. I know we did one on, it's in the technical best practices. You know what? I am going to steer them there. So on the developer site, let me see if I can find that real quick. I search for business rule best practices. And it should come up. Documentation, practice makes perfect, business rules, best practices. But I'm on my page. Can I go back to my search results, please? You crazy search engine. What was that all about? Practice makes perfect, business rules, best practices. And I believe there are a number of them under here that we can use. Oh, hey, this is a blog article from the community. How about that? Knowing when the business rules avoiding current update. Oh my gosh. There's a video of me in my old house. We can do that. Is that a playable video? No. It's a screenshot that didn't come over during the migration. This article is probably not the best thing to reference. Darn. Okay. And I can't go back. It's broke. All right, that's from the community. Prevent business rule technical best practices overview. That's the page I was really after. I was distracted. Caught by a shiny object. Okay, copy that link. Before you start diving ignorantly into business rules, take a look at the best practices to help avoid common and possibly tragic mistakes. Want to go over this real quick, everybody? Paste that in. And go. All right. In a nutshell, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly if I can find the right screen again. Business rules are very powerful. They are run typically when there's a database operation involved. I updated a record. I created a new record. I deleted a record, or I am simply reading a record. I can invoke a business rule. Some other platforms call them database triggers. You call them what you want. We call them business rules. So knowing when a business rule runs is very important in your process. Is it a display business rule? Is it running before the record is committed to the database, before it's saved? You can invoke actions before that commit actually happens. Often best to do this on the current record. Before I save the current gigabytes value, I want to calculate it from the megabytes and save it, and you don't need to do a current.update. Okay? Don't do current.update in a business rule. If you are, rethink your logic. If you still think you need it, come talk to me, and I'll see if I can talk you out of it. 99.99% of the time, you don't need a current.update in a business rule. It's just going to cause problems. Okay? Is it running after that? That's when you do related record operations. So once I've got the response back from, say, a REST API, once I save my record, then I'm going to trigger a REST API, for example. I don't want to trigger that REST API before the save is done. It might do kind of crazy things, especially if the save says, oh, never mind, someone entered an invalid due date. We're not going to save this record anyway. You could get out of sync. Optionally, you could run it asynchronously in the background to detach it from the current session and not hold the user hostage. Using conditions, there is a condition statement. There's both filter conditions that you can put together with the filter builder. State is active, or active is true. State changes to approval. Whatever you want, that's an easy way to do that. Or you could write it in the condition block right above the script that says current.state.changes to 10, whatever your approval state is. You can do that as well. Using the conditions means that the business rule isn't going to run every time. It will check that condition and say, if the condition is true, then I will run. If gs.has role ITIL. If you don't have the ITIL role, why are you even bother running this? If you put that within the script, not in the condition, but in the script, and said, if GS user has role ITIL, it's going to run that script every time, which makes debugging a little more difficult. Using the condition effectively is really all about easier debugging. Keeping your code in functions, this is just standard practice now. It didn't used to be when I first wrote these about 5 years ago. But when you write a business rule, I'll show you real quick. SSRU, shortcut to get to business rules. No matter what type you use, if it's an advanced one, hopefully my instance will keep up with me. Advanced. And I will get a third tab out here that says advanced. It's already got a function in it. So you don't really need to worry about this one. A long time ago, business rules were, you could do it out in the open. Current dot state equals 10. Led to possible scoping issues. If somebody said I equals 20 and they didn't say var I equals 20, they could be using an I from somewhere else. It was a scoping issue. Okay. Recursive business rules, that's all about putting current.update in your business rules. Don't do it. There's my short answer. Use business rules to double check critical input. If I've got, say, a reservation system and two people are in two different records and say, I want that asset and I want that same asset, it's think about airline reservation system. Okay, if you're saying save me this seat and somebody else is saying save me this seat, but hit save faster, they get the seat. You don't. The business rule can actually check that. When you submit your form, it says, I know you picked this seat on the airline, or I know you picked this laptop for reservation. Let's double check just to make sure we're not saving the same reservation for the same resource to two different people. That would be a problem. You can use that business rule to say, check one more time. I've actually seen something like this in real life when I went to go do lab work. I had some blood lab work done last month, and the lady was standing right there at the counter. She walked into the lab place to get her blood drawn. She says, "Hey, I'd like to get my blood drawn." They say, "Well, we don't do walk-ins anymore. Would you like to make a reservation?" She says, "Sure." She says, "How about I've got an opening at 4:45 today?" And while she was typing and getting the customer's information, she hit save. Somebody had come in from the web or another donation center, testing center, and sniped that time block. So there was a business rule in effect. I don't know what software they were using, but there was a rule checking, double checking. It says, all right, you're saving. You say you want this block. I'm going to make sure this block is still available. And it wasn't. And she said, wow, it just got taken while I was filling out this form. And I kind of chuckled at this. I went, I know how that works. You can use a business rule or whatever your software does. You want to double check that. And then global business rules are something that date back to the early days of ServiceNow, probably pre-2007, 2008. And they're really not a good idea because they're loaded for every page on the system. When you load a page, you are loading your global business rules. Script includes, on the other hand, are only loaded and run on demand. So you can put functions into a script include rather than a global business rule. All right, there is my complete explanation of business rules. Did I answer this one? Thanks, Ben. I don't even know if I answered this or not. I was talking. Did I answer it? Let me, it was this one from Raza 156. Let me reload my inbox. I don't know. I was asked 19 minutes ago and I haven't used it. Okay. I swear I was typing something. Wasn't I saying, yes, you can do this? Did I not save it? Okay, well, yes, you can do this if you are new to business rules. I'm having deja vu. Business rules. I recommend reviewing the technical best practices to avoid making potentially critical mistakes. And let's go get that link again. I got so excited about talking about these things. Something tells me this list needs updating. But I can't think of what's missing at the moment. I don't maintain that anymore. That used to be my life for about 5 years. Ding. All right, it is coming up to the end of the hour. I've got one more in the inbox. Regex, a multiple line variable. This is the regular expression that I went on Rubular and built. Thanks, Chuck. This is good feedback, and I appreciate the link to Regex tester. I tested the code in the inbound action, and it still stops on a single line. Any other ideas of what I can do? Kindly share the code you've got right now. Can you kindly share the inbound email action you've got right now? I had a couple of topics in the hopper, but don't think I'm going to be getting to them today. Let me take a quick look. One was, let's do field hints real quick. This is another best practice that I find that is often overlooked. If you hover over some of the tables in ServiceNow, you will often find they pop up with a little definition of what they do. Guess not all of them. Okay. That is done through Configure Dictionary. Excuse me, no, not Configure Dictionary, Configure Label. So if I right click on the label and choose the option, sorry, my nose is itchy, cats, Configure Label, it says, do you want to leave the site? I say yes. It brings me up with the label now that I am in the safety scope. Let's go to the global scope. And in there is a hint field. The hint field is what's available to display when you hover over the label. Okay. When would you like this to run? It doesn't have to be long. It shouldn't be long. If it's more than, say, 100 characters, you're doing it wrong. It's not a hint anymore. Now when I hover over the when field, let's go to advanced again, and I hover over when, I get this little balloon help. It is a hint of what to do with this field. I recommend that when you're writing an application or you're configuring a new application, you're making a new field, put a hint on there in every language that you've got supported so that somebody comes up and they read the hint, it's got the hint on there. That's very helpful for people. Apparently it's not on all fields. Business rules is one of the oldest, and business rules and UI actions, those forms really need an update in my opinion, but I've already given a proposed change to the UI actions. They're starting to put more and more tabs on there, and it's looking a little like they got patched together. So I said, hey, here's an example layout. But ServiceNow can't just change a form layout. It has to have testing that goes with it. It has to, there's a lot more. It's not a trivial matter to just go, move these fields around. Good. It'll be published in London. No. We do have a little bit more quality control than we used to back in 2008. Thank goodness. That takes me to the top of the hour. Got the field hints in there. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you joining. It has been a wonderful time. Thank you, Chris. Didn't see you hiding out there. Hope if you learned something in the last hour, don't forget to hit the like button on YouTube so that others can find it helpful. And with any luck, I will see you here tomorrow. Wednesday is a very likely, but Thursday and Friday and the show for the next week or so is questionable. I do have family joining, and I don't know what that's going to do to my personal schedule because these shows are done on my personal time. I enjoy doing this very much. However, I enjoy spending time with my family a little bit more. You're like family, but you're not my family. So I have to have priorities somewhere. Until tomorrow, I look forward to talking to you, and I will see you again real soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye now.